right, let's see what's going on here. I guess we on. Hey, what's going on, party people? I hope everyone is doing well. Now, if this is your first time here, welcome. It's definitely a great pleasure to have you here. I go by the name of L'Esprit. I am a spiritual healer, and essentially, what I do as a spiritual healer is that I help you to attain your highest level of consciousness. In other words, I help you to become your best version. And what that means pretty much, when we look at, let's just say, Jesus Christ, the Buddha, Krishna, those are people who have attained their level of consciousness. So the reality of it is, anyone who has the ability or the understanding or who have attained that level of consciousness is the Christ or is Buddha or is Krishna. So I help you to become the Christ. I help you to become Buddha. I help you to become Krishna, whichever name you feel more comfortable with. But what that simply represents, when you look at those, spiritual figures, they represent you or anyone who has attained that level of connection, understanding about who they are. Or, simply put, if you want to say God. Or, let's be fair, who have a greater understanding of who they are and also of God. Right? I'm making it safe for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So that's pretty much what I do. Now, the way I go about doing that by helping you to become mentally and emotionally balanced. Now, why is it important for you, or how does you becoming mentally and emotionally balanced help you to become Christ-like, or help you to attain your highest level of consciousness? Well, that's simply because only then can you see the bigger picture. Now, you don't have a one-sided view or understanding, but as a person, you become whole. Meaning, that's the yin and the yang, that's your masculinity and your femininity, that's your lower self, the higher self. It's those different aspects of you that has to come together. So it's the same thing when we talk about being emotionally balanced and and mentally balanced, right? But most importantly, right? Also, give me a second here, guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm buzzing. I'm on fire. Okay. Oh shit, I might have to shut this. Okay. Now, where was I? So I was saying, why is it important, for you to become mentally and emotionally balanced? Because only then, can you have the greatest perspective. And how do we know that? Let's just say if you are emotionally unbalanced, you're depressed, you're unhappy. Are you going to be in your greatest state of mind? No, you're not. You're not. We see it all the time. You've experienced it. In fact, if you ever see anybody or you ever called any of your friends, you're like, yo, man, I think you were being a little bit emotional. What you're also saying is you didn't see the full picture because you were being too emotional. That emotion pretty much blocked your perspective, didn't allow you to see the bigger picture. So that's why you call someone who's being too emotional. And the bottom line is, by you saying that, you also implying you don't see the full picture. Why? Well, I mean, shit. Nigga, this is what you didn't see. And you didn't see any of that because you are not emotionally balanced. And that's what happens to us depending on what you're going through, or depending on you not being or have the ability to do your shadow work, to understand your emotions, in fact, becoming emotionally balanced, that's the work that it takes. And that's what I mean by being emotionally balanced. That's the work that you got to do. But I'm going to get there shortly. But going back to being one-sided, because you're emotionally not balanced, then it has a direct impact on your intellect, and vice versa. You at this point you can also imagine the direct connection that exists between your mental and your emotions. That fine line. That's why the wise ones, we understand that your true heart and your true mental is the heart. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're just dropping gems. Pick it up, pick it up. I mean, shit. I mean, if it's for you, you'll get it. But, and vice versa too. Let's just say if you choose to be very logical. Well, when you become too logical, you don't seem, I mean, certain you missing out on the small things, on a lot of things. Do you see what I'm saying? Especially when you're dealing with human beings. There's a lot of shit. It's not as it seems, and there's more to it than what it appears to be. Do you see what I'm saying? And because now, let's just say, if you choose to be very logical, then you become very rigid, right? You become very to the point. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes sense. That's what you're doing. Then now you're missing out on a lot of other stuff that's around you. And that's why it's important for you to become emotionally balanced, because what that emotion does, it open up your eyes a little bit more. It widen your perspective. Like, if you know anything about the Jesus story, when they brought the prostitute, this is what the rule, I mean, this is what the law says, this is what we should do. And what do you think? You say you're the son of God. I mean, of course, I don't think they mentioned that, but whatever the case was. So, and Jesus' response pretty much was, well, which one of you motherfuckers who have not sinned? Whichever one of you who's perfect, well, you throw the first stone. So that little bit of emotion that he added to what you call their laws or their understanding allows them to have a broader perspective of what's in front of them. And that's what being emotionally intelligent does. So therefore, it's important, for you to balance the two, because only then can you see the bigger picture. Otherwise, it's all going to be one-sided. So, now let's take it a step further. Now, going back to what I was talking about earlier in terms of doing what is it to be emotionally balanced? Well, being emotionally balanced, what that is pretty much is you understanding your emotions. You understand what your emotions are, but most importantly, you understand your feelings. But it takes for you to go inward, for you to, you would have to surrender to your feelings, but most importantly, you would have to accept it, not suppressing it, but you accept it. Okay, I'm not feeling happy. What's going on, buddy? You know what I'm saying? Why are we not happy today? It happens. Let's try to figure it out. So by you doing that, right, that's pretty much what the whole thing is. And that's what allows you to become emotionally balanced, because now at this point, you are able, or you have the ability to know and understand, your emotions. So therefore, you are in a better position to fix it, or to remove any type of blockages that you may have. And that's how you become emotionally balanced. Again, we see this here has nothing to do, let's just say, most people, especially, if you were to raise your voice, then you're not emotionally balanced. Or if you behave a certain way, all of that is bullshit. Because I could raise my voice and be more emotionally balanced than you can ever think, or even better than you. So again, raising your voice, or not raising your voice or acting a certain way, I mean, pertains a lot more to your behavior or what you're trying to let people know. I mean, being emotionally balanced is your business. It's not, to appear like anything. It's for you, for your well being, you seeing the bigger picture and, not being triggered, but, expressing yourself. And part of your expression, sometimes you may choose to use profanity, you may choose not to use it. It doesn't fucking matter. Now, do you have to express yourself with using profanity? No, you don't. But do you have the ability to to do so? Fuck yeah. So you do whatever the fuck you want, but yet being emotionally balanced. So again, it all comes down to you understanding your emotions, understanding your emotional patterns, but most importantly, remove any type of blockages that pertains to you not being in emotionally balanced. Because those blockages, that's exactly what they do. They prevent you from being emotionally balanced. Now, the same exact understanding applies here when you're talking about being mentally balanced. The baseline understanding is the same. It's you understanding, okay, how your mind works. That is your business. You must, bro. You know what I'm saying? But in addition to that, you also have to understand, how is my mind being conditioned? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, if I was born in America, there's a certain way that I think. There's a certain way I see life. So, meaning being born in America will shape my thinking to think a certain way, or my thoughts to be a certain way. You know, it's not just the language. That's what, and what the best way of saying that is your culture. So you have you have to know, not necessarily knowing your culture. I mean, yes, but the idea is not just to know the culture; it's for you to master anything that condition you to think a certain way. Meaning like politics, the school institution, everything that you are surrounded by. Otherwise, how can you be in control of your mind if your mind is being shaped and conditioned by other people? So by you, and that's what we call a clarity, a mental clarity. To have a mental clarity, you have it's almost like you would have to learn how to be an American without being an American. What that means is, okay, this is where I was born, but there is a lot more to you, obviously, as we all should know. I'm assuming you know, than you fucking being born somewhere. You know what I'm saying? That's like me being born in Haiti, nigga. There's a lot more to me than motherfucking Haiti, dog. And no disrespect to Haiti, no disrespect to any other countries. And if I was born in America, that's shit. You don't think there's a lot more you need to know? Or there is for you to know? So, in other words, you would have to learn how to bypass, those cultural thing that will put you in a box, or not just cultural, but any circumstances or any type of understanding or condition or mind conditioning that puts you in a box. You have to be aware of what that is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how can I say this? Let's talk about being a Democrat or a fucking Republican. See, you already being one sided. As a person, how does that help you? It's not going to help you as a person. Because if we're saying, and also that's the idea of embracing all aspect of you, right? So if we're saying there's some good shit in being a Democrat, they have good qualities, and the Republican also have some good qualities. So why not getting all the good qualities? Do you see what I'm saying? Like why? Like why do I have to be either or when being both gives me a broader perspective? Meaning there's gonna be circumstances where I may feel like I may sound like a Democrat, and there's gonna be other circumstances where I may sound like a fucking Republican. At the end of it all, I mean tomatoes, tomatoes. But it's giving me the broader perspective. And that's why you don't want to be one sided, because you never see the bigger picture. Do you see what I'm saying? Because it, it doesn't even make sense. Think about it, right? If I mean, why not getting all the good shit? Oh, this is good, but it belongs there. So I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? So I'm saying that to say, as you becoming more conscious, or for you to become mentally balanced, you would have to be more aware of your situation, your circumstances, and how your mind is being shaped by those different circumstances. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And that's why for us, when we help you, and only then can you become your greatest version, because now at this point you're able to bypass, you become more worldly or more cosmic, not worldly in a church sense, meaning you sinning or you fucking around and all that shit, but more worldly in terms of more of a human being or more of the divine that you are. Keep that in mind, because the conversation that we're going to be talking about tonight, as you guys see in that title, I am that I am, and you are who you are. But anyway, in a nutshell, guys, if this is your first time, that's pretty much what I do. And the way I go about it, it's pretty much everything that we'll be talking about tonight. It's gonna have some aspect of being emotionally and mentally balanced, and that's how, pretty much you'll be able to see the greater picture in everything that we're gonna be talking about tonight. You'll see it, and I'll just point it out to you. Anyway, now if you're coming back, it's always a pleasure. You already know this is for you. Respectfully. Listen, man. You already know. Come get your medicine, get your smoke, get your drink. Let's do what we came here to do. But most importantly, like I always tell you guys, this is about serving the community. Do you see what I'm saying? Each one teach one. We all sharpen up each other, making each other great, man. And it's almost like, I know for me, that's why this is rewarding for me. Like my prize, I got it, and that's why I'm putting my heart into it, because that is my reward. Do you understand? You know what I'm saying? But most importantly, man, and having the ability to hold on to that mirror of wisdom and allow you for you to see yourself. Listen, man, like, and when you do, and giving you the ability to see beauty in you, I mean, can you really put a price on that? So, besides the price, I mean, it's so expensive. You can't put a number on it. And that's what makes this a privilege to me, even to be talking about this, because this is the ultimate conversation to me in terms of, you know, you knowing who you are. There's no greater conversation besides that. Because you knowing who you are, you know, it will get you closer to God. And you know, essentially, we are all God's children, and I'll get to explain what that is. You know, as you know, I will be talking about spirituality shortly, because the whole idea here, when we talk about the child of God, we're talking about all of these things. You know what I'm saying? Keep watching. It's you. It's your best. It's your best version. But anyway, welcome back. You already know. I always put on for you guys. You know what I'm saying? You know. You already know. So now, as part of my process, if this is your first time, guys, I always take a minute to pretty much delve into spirituality, give you some I guess somewhat basic understanding of what spirituality is, right? But most importantly, because spirituality is the foundation, it's the reasoning that I use, you know, for me to refer. I mean, it's pretty much the foundation of everything that I'm talking about. And as a result, it's only right for me to tell you what that is. As even the conversation that we're doing now, it's all spirituality in itself. So, but anyway, keep your eyes open. But so when it comes to spirituality, guys, oh, we definitely gonna have some fun tonight because I'm feeling that. When you're talking about spirituality, guys, what you really talking about, man? It's you, man. It's your essence. You know, it's the story of the spirit or the story of humanity. What you see in spirituality, you see different belief systems. You know, you get to analyze and look at us in different angles. But ultimately, what that really result to is your own spirit, your essence. Now, out of ignorance, one of the most misunderstanding about spirituality is almost people who feel like, you know, this is not the regular day to day thing. So therefore, you don't see it in your life. You don't see it, and the reason why you don't see it that way because you were conditioned, going back to being aware of how you're being mentally, you know, conditioned. You were conditioned to look at yourself only from a physical perspective. And by that, I mean from an only from a fucking external perspective. So most people, when they look at who they are, that's why a lot of us, you know, we are living in a society that pretty much condition you to live your life based on who you should be instead of who you are. So because you've been conditioned to see things that way, which is already fucked up, then now when spirituality is walking around you, you can't see him. And spirituality is butt naked in front of you. With some fat ass, big tits and all that shit. Just waiting for you to be, just waiting to be fucked. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, because you are being blinded, and that's what we call ignorance, to be blinded, because that's why we also say, you know, and all me saying we also say this is part of the occult. In there's a big part. The other part of spirituality is what you call the occult. Now, the occult is you dealing with esoteric knowledge, the type of knowledge that helps you to emphasize on the things that you don't see. That's why most of, let's just say, the occult book will teach you some of the basic thing you will learn in the occult, for instance, is that you have a subconscious mind. Now, that subconscious mind, you cannot see it. Other stuff that you would also learn as you're going through the whole occult is that you have your chakras, you have a third eye, you can feel it over here, however they describe it to you. But what this is truly doing is giving you the manual, the understanding of what you don't see. But by them doing that, they helping you now to delve into the darkness to to find the light in the darkness. And that light, that understanding, you knowing that you have a subconscious mind, it makes you to become a little more aware, because now you cannot see your subconscious is right underneath your conscious mind. So it's almost like now you're gonna have to become aware of the unknown, what you don't know. I mean, if that's not mysterious in itself, and I still have something coming up because I'm working on that, because we are the mysteries of all mysteries. If this is not mysterious in itself, this is mysticism. Our existence, who we are in itself, it's just a work of art. The complexity in it is just unbelievable. But for you to even start looking at it from that perspective, you would have to, now looking at you from a different perspective. Now you cannot just look at you from an external perspective and to see these things in you. So the occult spirituality is just, it's helping you to become your greatest version. This is our story. This is your life. So now the occult now is giving you a deeper understanding of the reality that you're looking at. For instance, in Hinduism, I think, is it Hinduism? I mean, I can't recall, and I'm not going to mix it up. The fucking Indians, whichever, mysticism school that belongs to, they describe the world that we're living in, Earth. They call it Maya. Maya simply means illusion. Now, check this out. The next part I'm about to tell you is very important. Now, illusion, a lot of people don't understand what illusion is. Illusion doesn't mean fake. No, 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 no. When you're talking about fake, sorry. When you're talking about fake, you implying there's a fucking original. Illusion has nothing to do with that. The best way for you to understand what illusion is, in fact, Christopher Nolan has a movie called The Prestige. And the whole thing about The Prestige was, let's just say, hypothetically, you go to a magic show. And you're looking at the magician having the ability, you're looking at a fucking, let's just say, handkerchief or a piece of towel, whatever the fuck. And having you, as you're looking at it, he may has the ability to make it disappear. Then you're like, whoa, how did he do that? So you see it. An illusion is not, it's what you see, it's not what it appears to be. It doesn't mean that you didn't see it. It doesn't mean that it does not exist. But it doesn't exist the way you are looking at it. That's what illusion is. For instance, if you're looking to get to know somebody, when we look at us, each other, people in general, everybody you encounter, everybody you hang out with, there is more to that person than what they appear to be. But if you look at that person as just the physical self, that's what the illusion is. So if you're going to say for you to get to know somebody, well, it's for you to know their character. You got to go beyond what they look like, how, tall they are, how big they are. Now, we're not saying that's not part of who they are. We're saying there's that and there's more to you. So therefore, we're not rejecting what we see, but we also understand, maybe, he did something. It's a trick. When you see a fat ass and then you married a bitch for a fat ass only, that's a trick. You know, because in life, or not just in life, I mean, call it what you like. In your living experience, it takes more. Like if you, I mean, it's good to fuck, you know, again, but you can't go just by dick and pussy. So that's why now, for you to thrive, for you to become your best version, you have to embrace both your physical, both your dick and your mind. Meaning, you see she got a fat ass? Yes, I love it. What else? Do you see what I'm saying? And just like they say too, you know, like a fat ass, how is fat? A fat ass is not gonna raise your kids, bro. I mean, if you care for that kind of stuff, because at the end of the day, no matter what we look like, it's gonna be about who we are. And for any one of us to do that, I have to look at you past what you look like, and vice versa for you. So again, when we talking about spirituality, it's your fucking life. And then now you have the occult, all of those different esoteric school systems. You know, what they're saying is it's different manuals and understanding of the experience that you're already experiencing, but now it's helping you to be cautious or to become conscious of what you see in this reality that doesn't appear what it as it appears to be. Another one, electricity around us. Is that air that you're breathing, my friend? Or is there more to it? What chi are we talking about here? But yet again, here we are living in a fucking world too, where electricity is all around us. How do you know? Well, I mean, I guess if you know, I mean, if you have a light at your house, that's electricity. Where do you think that comes from? There is more to our reality than what it appears to be. That's why you don't want to be lost neither. Like that's when you're living for your senses, or you sinning, and I'm not referring to, let's just say, you fucking bitches here. The minute you're not in alignment with you a sinner. You live in a lustful life. And a lustful life is an external, you worshiping idols. Then at that point, your Gucci defines you. How much money you got. You keeping up with the Joneses. You're lost in the sauce. That's living a lustful life. Because at the end of it all, it doesn't really make a difference if, let's just say, okay, you're not out here physically fucking everybody, but you're a married man. Your interpretation of what life is, well, I gotta treat my wife good and I gotta do all these things, but yet life to you, it's getting a degree, buying a house, driving a car only, or investing in stocks. If your definition of what that is, there's no difference between you and whoever else is just fucking around. If anything, what the only thing you probably have is that you made a better, worse decision. Like you actually made It's like, I mean, you like, you the smart idiot, because none of it means nothing if you don't know who you are. It doesn't balance. In fact, your success is not even a fucking success. That's why that type of life only brings anxiety, the worst out of you. When you're competing with the Joneses, it's always fucking depression. You got to do more. You got to do more. You got to show off more. Everything you do now becomes, now what you define as you is that self-image, who you should be. Then you enter your marriage is gonna set up the same way. Now you projecting the fake image to fucking people. And now if it, like you, a lot of people are like, for me, when I look at Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, that's what they represent. I mean, to be honest, these niggas might be the best marriage nigga you might want to talk to if you're looking at marriages from that perspective. Because guess what? Regardless of what you may say, they have not left each other. I want you to understand this. But I also want you to understand too, when both of them on that red table, whatever, they said to bad marriages, they both agree on that. However the fuck they said, whatever the fuck they said. So a lot of marriages too. I mean, a lot of people stay in it for a very long time. That's why it's funny to me when I hear people trying to describe marriage. Oh man, you married for 34, like that means that is a good marriage. That's not a metric for it. A good marriage is fucking good marriage in itself. It doesn't. It's not. And you know what I'm saying. It's not determined by the length of time that you spent with that person, but it's the level of an intimacy and understanding that matters. See, whenever people are telling you, "Hey, man, it takes more," like marriage is a lot more. What you really doing is saying, let's think about it. Or it's the work, better understanding, greater intimacy. So therefore, the purpose, it's a true relationship. And some of the wedding or marriages that's gonna work, it requires two people, man. The work that you has, I mean, again, you being your best version. That's why I tell people, man, I don't talk about this. Becoming the best version of you. Why you worry about that? I mean, it ain't like you're gonna be a good husband if you're a shady motherfucker. Let me know. That's why it's called a relation. How you relate. This is you. How you relating. That's all you're doing. So you're married. But anyway, I can't recall what the fuck I was. Why did I even bring up fucking marriages? I was on some bullshit. What the fuck was I talking about? I'm wilding. Um, what the fuck was it? But anyway, all I'm saying is it's there's more to us than what we appear to be. Again, showing you or trying to connect that to what the illusion is, and that's why the more you know who you are, that's what's gonna set you free. Free from ignorance or material bondage, or you know what I'm saying, or that type of living. You know, you living your life based on your fucking external self. Then at that point, it's Gucci that defines you. Now your self image becomes your self esteem. That's the world that you're living in. That's what we call the matrix. But anyway, not to delve too much because it's already half an hour. I could talk a lot of shit. But anyway, spirituality is it's your life. And the more you know about you, your essence. That's why when you don't see yourself being connected to spirituality, you ignorant. You don't know who you are. You don't know your essence. That's all it comes down to. So again, spirituality is you. If you know your essence, there's no way you're not gonna talk about spirituality. There's no way, you know what I'm saying, you're just gonna look at a bitch for her fat ass. And just so you know, I mean, it's disrespectful to them too. You're actually being more disrespectful. Like, can you imagine you see a bitch and you just see her ass and tits? But if that's where your level of consciousness is, well, that's all you see. But again, that's what we call ignorance. Now you're stuck in what they other people will call the matrix. But most importantly, you know what I'm saying, you're stuck in fucking the external world. You don't see past that. As if sometime, I mean, somehow having a fat ass make a good wife. The way niggas be praising big asses and tits and all that shit is as if, I mean, shit, let's call it what the fuck it is, man. And what we're calling beauty too. This is what I'm saying. This is where your mind, this is where your energy's going. Your energy's going there where, I mean, shit. I mean, you are defining your reality by that energy, by that understanding. This is all spirituality. And this is all about your essence. And this is also to say too, that's why for you to see God, you got to be in alignment with God. And as you see, you know, the God qualities in you, you project that. Again, it's all it's all about your essence. So, just to summarize, as I will get into the conversation, what I mean, the topic of the night, spirituality is just your regular life. But now, as you're trying to get to know your regular life, then you realize there is a lot more than what it appears to be. Then we are all surrounded by people being born, you're seeing death, and then when you start to delve a lot more into it, then you see it's a transition. The energy never dies, it's just the body that stays. So when you're being born, it's almost like you're taking on a form. And then now spirituality is telling you about that story, but it's also helping you because we understand the spark that takes place. I can't recall who's talk. Was it Plato that talks about when you're being born? That's how you lose your memory. Because what we're doing as we're living, we are remembering, meaning we remember. You become a member again, and that's taking place in all different aspects. You gaining your memory back, but that's also you understanding, most importantly, your essence. Because as you're doing so, the memories will just, anyway, another one on the house. On the house. So, I am that I am. Mm, 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 mm. Now, that one there. Whew, this is a goodie. Now, if any one of you guys remember, I can't recall if it was what part of the Bible, but it's definitely was a Moses story where God appeared to Moses in this fire thing, right? You know, and essentially God was introducing Himself to Moses, right? And then, this whole thing was, I am that I am. I just want you to pause on that for a second because, and and at the end of it all, I'm gonna make the connection in us being spirit. I'm just gonna save it for the end. But anyway, I mean, if you Because if you're looking at it, if God was looking at it from let's just say an external perspective, meaning if God was worshiping idols, like we were talking about, your self-image becomes what really becomes your self-esteem. Meaning God didn't show up to Moses, yo man, the earth you're standing on, the motherfucking sky you look on, I'm the nigga that created all that shit, nigga. You wanna know who I am? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm that nigga. I got five cars. I'm this and that. That's not what God said. And shit, if I mean, if you're not even expecting that, I mean, it's a few things. You may not even be thinking critically to begin with. It happens. That's why I'm here to help you. You know what I'm saying, to attain your highest level of to wake your ass up, or to help you to remember. You're safe. You're good. But I'm here to help you with that. So it's almost like you got to ask yourself, well, not necessarily asking yourself, right? So, well, yeah, why not? You got to ask yourself, right? Why didn't God, introduce himself as, the guy who created earth and heavens and the many other heavens that possibly exist? And, you know what I'm saying? Why God didn't say how big his dick was? You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously he has a big dick. Like, why didn't he say how big his dick was? You know what I'm saying? Like, put on some weight on Moses. Yo, guys, as a side note here, random, right? Just some bullshit, because I feel like I'm on some bullshit tonight. But anyway, check this out, right? I was watching this thing, this real, like this fucking Haitian shit. This nigga was saying, right? Can you imagine if there was among like the 12 disciples, man? If there was like two bitches, you know what I'm saying, among the disciples, oh man, we would have had a whole different story. No, we're not talking about Mary Magdalene. Nah, there was two girls, like two priestesses. Like, yo, Jesus, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm wilding, man. I'm wilding. So, shit. Going back to the conversation, right? So bullshit. So yeah, so I am that I am, right? So a way, one of the ways we can actually look at this, so we can have a better understanding of what that means and how it pertains to us, is to look at that one instance that I was talking about here, because God didn't define himself as, you know, a guy who owns, let's say, a million acres, who had, I'm a billionaire, I'm this and that. He was saying, I am that I am. And the whole idea of what I wanted to talk about, why I wanted to talk about this too, because, you are going to be who you are. And that goes for everybody. But in that spiritual journey, that's who you need to become. You know what I'm saying? And you cannot attain your highest level of consciousness without you being who you are. Because the whole idea of you becoming Christ like, you know what I'm saying, it's you becoming who you are. So for us to understand I am that I am, pretty much, you would have to look at your essence. We need to understand what really defines us. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? What really defines you? Who are you? Do you see what I'm saying? In fact, I can't recall if it was Ptah or in this Egyptian book. I can't recall if it was the Book of the Dead, but they were pretty much talking about judgment, Judgment Day, right? So as Anubis, which is the judge. I mean, I can't recall because I read that a very long time ago. But the point I'm trying to make here, if you know anything about that, there was a part where they were saying for you to get on the other side, because that's when they get to weigh your heart to see if it's as light as a feather. There's certain questions you would have to ask. I mean, you have to answer to. And those questions, there were so many different questions like, have you sinned? Did you do this? Did you do that? And technically, the real answer to all of it is that no, I didn't do any of it. And a lot of people, I see a lot of people struggle with that. That's why people call this an illusion, meaning that they were not even here. That's not what truly it means, because if you hear, you hear. And if you're not here, I mean, the key to transcend this reality, you got to be here. If you claim to be a star that lives somewhere, but it's not being represented here, and that's the whole purpose of you being godlike. You becoming Christ-like, it's you materializing whatever the fuck the planet you claim to come from, or whatever God you claim to be, it's you materializing that shit. And if you understand that, that's what the Bible does by personifying God for you. The idea is not to box you in, meaning God is somewhere else, it's outside of you. The idea is for you to understand that that is you. But anyway, I think I'm going too fast. Let's rewind the selector. We got all night. I was too serious for a second. Let me see what time it is real quick. Damn. So, going back to, damn, time is flying like a motherfucker. Like I always tell people, right? But when you're talking about you, or I am that I am, or even for you to understand that, like everything I was just saying, who the fuck are you? Like it would have to know your essence. But for you to even do that, you need to surrender to who you are. And surrendering to who you are simply means you have to accept who you are. But yet, before you could do any of that, you have to understand the power in acceptance. Because I realize not a lot of people don't understand it. I'll give you guys a fucking example, right? I lived in PA for a very long time. Wawa, I fuck with Wawa sandwiches heavy. That's my shit. It's my shit. So that's when I moved down to South Florida, right? And they had Wawa too. That was second home for me. And me not knowing, I'm expecting, okay, this is the South. Now I moved down to Georgia. They ain't got no fucking Wawa, dog. Damn. So can you imagine now me being like, yo, fuck Georgia, man. They ain't got Wawa and shit. Wawa's the best shit ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you guys have sandwiches down here. You got all those different things. But, nigga, you know what I'm saying? You don't have Wawa. Well, I'm pretty sure, if you're born and raised here, or even if you live here too, you're like, nigga, you could just easily drive back to PA, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that to say to you, because there's something greater that I'm trying to say here, right? Accepting doesn't mean, let's just say, I still love Wawa. I still like shit when I go to PA, nigga. You already know. We got to get a sandwich. And there's a little thing that I do. I have my own little shit that I add my hat. Nigga. You can't tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying that to say, but what the fuck that has to do with me living in Georgia, dog? You know what I'm saying? Even if I were to complain saying how much I missed it, none of that would have helped me. I'm in Georgia. What fuck? Okay, they don't have Wawa, so nigga, it is what it is. So acceptance, that's what accepting is. It doesn't mean weak. I'm not settling for nothing here. Like shit. Can you imagine? I would only move to a state that has Wawa, dog. Do you see what I'm saying? So again, the point that I'm trying to make here, man, the power of acceptance. When you accept people for who they are, it doesn't make you weak. So for you to surrender to you, that's why you have to accept who you are. Good, bad, and ugly. In fact, the truth is, once you really surrender to yourself, trust me, your beauty automatically will go up. Because regardless of what you do or how you do it, you'll see when you see that in you, you're gonna reflect it automatically. Regardless of what your line of work is, regardless of what a social class that you came from, who you are, it's gonna be who the fuck you are. So therefore, the very first thing you need to do, you gotta surrender to yourself. You would have to accept you. And a lot of us living in a society, like I was saying, when you're looking at you from, what you should be, you not accepting you. How do you see the best in you if you're not dealing with you? How can you be useful if you're not using you? So the very first thing for us we need to do here to understand, when it comes to who we are, you would have to accept you first. Then you would have to surrender to that. Then now, as we delving more into us, who we are, then you understand there's a lot more to you than what you appear to be. I know a lot of us sometimes, and even going back to me saying to you, right, to you to get to know somebody, you got to know who they are, technically. That's why your actions doesn't necessarily reveal who you are. In fact, a lot of people came from being stupid to actually being smart. If you have the ability to change, that simply means when you were stupid, again, I didn't do that. I think if I'm going back to the whole Pata stuff, and I don't remember some of the questions, did you steal? Did you, your answer is no. Because again, now you got to understand your essence better. Because your essence at this point, it's more than just your actions. A lot of us, let me say this, us true spiritual masters, the ones who are living and practicing transform, who are being transformed by those words, we live an ethical life. And when we live that type of life, we don't necessarily talk about it. In fact, we may appear to be the most um damn the most, what's the word that I'm looking for? Let me put it let me put it to you this way. The smarter I became, the more I didn't give a fuck. Meaning I say nigga, I don't say nigga. It really don't. I really like. It's like the smarter I became, I understand to be smart. It's not to sound smart. Just like the whole idea of us living an ethical life. It's you transforming, bringing the darkness. I mean, it's bringing the light into the darkness. It's for transformation. I'm not here to sound smart. That's not even smart in itself. And if you're gonna be busy sounding smart, and that's what you see, like when you see niggas like Bill Cosby, the fucking Derrick Jacksons, all of these so-called people who wouldn't say nigga shit, who wouldn't or who would speak a certain way. All of that is validation. And what you'll see, it's always gonna be these niggas who do not say nigga shit, but that does worse than nigga shit. And then a nigga like me, surprisingly, I could be speaking all this nigga shit, and my life is different. When you look at a guy like Eddie Murphy, and he said it himself too. Bill Cosby was the best dad. Meanwhile, Eddie Murphy on stage, who was saying all that suck that, who was saying all that suck my dick shit. He's the daddy at home. Do you see how it goes? So for me, and this is one thing I came to realize, and that's why us who are true spiritual masters, who are true ethical motherfuckers, we don't do it to tell you how much we like. People like when you want to sound smart, you're saying you like those good qualities. Do you like it enough to be it? And here's the thing: when you become it, I mean, you may talk about it, but it's not gonna be the same. The more I know, the more I really don't give a fuck. I understand. I'm too busy being smart than to pretend to be smart or to articulate. That one always gets me. And meanwhile, your whole articulation is you. How practical are you being? And not just in your language, nigga. So when we talk, so again, your action doesn't define you. In fact, there was a great movie, and I feel like this movie is actually underrated. It was The Mind Hunters. It was a movie by LL Cool J, and technically he was an FBI agent. And that movie is underrated, bro, because there's a lot of wisdom in that movie. And then there was a training, that you have the future FBI agents, they had to do some practical tests. And part of their test, pretty much, in that movie, they were saying they had the ability, let's just say, to look at people based on what they were doing. And I'm not going to take that away. There's to a certain level, there is some truth to it. And again, and here's what you also have to understand, that's why opposite meets. Two things can be true at the same time, and two things could be true or false depending on the level in which you're looking at it. And again, you're talking about a paradox. That's why you have to learn how to embrace those. And this is what life is full of. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, shit. There's no true answer to anything besides you being you. Some people may say, you know what? If you come from a family where your mom and dad was not there, most likely you ought to reproduce that. I understand the logic. It's true, but it's also not true. because there are so many different things that comes to us that your action cannot define you alone. So I do understand why we may have to label certain things, but don't be fooled by it. That's why it's all a fucking illusion in itself too. That's why what is true could be false, what is false could be true. And that's what it is to adopt a Godhead mentality. But going back to the movies real quick, so part of their drill, they went out to a bar and they were asking each other questions about, okay, I'm gonna tell you, this guy here has this, whatever, whatever, right? You know, some of the cues that you're learning, you posing like this, you posing like that. That's what it means. For the most part, there's some truth to it, but nigga. And in fact, LL Cool J was among them. So he was sent as a supervisor, whatever the fuck, to supervise the whole training process. But anyway, they were having this little hurdle that they were doing, speaking among them and having the ability to say about this and that, and to exercise their masturbation, their intellect, which is good, which is good, which is good. We're not. I just don't want you to get the wrong opinion about it. But what I'm truly trying to get you to see too, but that would be a whole different conversation. That's why you have to learn how to tap into people's energy. But that's a whole different story. But anyway, so what LL Cool J said to them in that particular moment, so technically he told them, shut the fuck up, man. You think you know? None of you motherfuckers know nothing. And the reason why you know nothing, because whatever you think you're saying about these people, that could be right. You're just showing your intelligence. You're just saying what you know about you. You're revealing yourself. So technically what you're truly doing, and I like that answer because that shit was on point. It was on point. So meaning you say this and that based on how you were trained or how you were perceived to understand these fucking behaviors. Because someone who knows how to deceive you, in fact, I don't know, I was watching this fucking FBI shit. These niggas know how to take a live fucking detector test. I mean, how is that for these nuts? Again, not to say using a lie detector test doesn't work. And this is also not to say that it does work. So again, you are who you are. But anyway, your action doesn't necessarily define who you are. Because at any time in your life, you could go from being in this position to go in that position. But what does that really entail, or really, it really comes down to you. And when you start knowing you, then you know it's infinite potential. There's no lie about it. Anything that any one of us have ever learned, we learn through repetitions. So what's stopping you, motherfucker, to learn about anything? It didn't say perfection, although I have a whole different meaning of what perfection is. I mean, what I'm trying to say is, here is that alone is just showing you the ability that we all have. And anybody, even when you have a certain skill, you have to practice it. You are who you are. So now, when you understand that now, I don't have to do what everybody else is doing. I got to find what makes me. Or I got to find what I'm good at. But yet, I still need to work on it. But what that really telling you is you are who you are. And that's who you should seek for. So anyway, going back to looking at our actions again, if we're going back to the movie, so technically what he was telling them, you technically showing who the fuck you are. See, again, when we're talking about being smart and sounding smart, the whole purpose, man, is for you to be the best version of you, truly living the best version of you. That's why, and I know people like. Can you believe, there's people like faking. How do you fake spirituality, bro? Like, god damn. Like, how do you fake to be a good person, bro? Is that something even worth faking or sounding like? Why don't it just be that? I don't get it. And when you being that, just like I was talking, that's why you'll see a lot of true. Jesus didn't walk around and say, "I'm fucking ethical. I do this. I don't do that." It was his behavior that let you know who the fuck he was. A man of spirit, a man of integrity. So again, even when we're talking about God consciousness, it has to be materialized. The words got to be made flesh. You're gonna be only who the fuck you are. So that's why it is your interest to know who you are. So looking at it from your action perspective, again, revealing spirituality again. You are who you are, but you are more than what you appear to be. And these type of conversation, it's simply for you to know who you are. Again, I mean, can you imagine living this life and not understanding that about you? Are you even living this life? I mean, did you get the point? I mean, this is the point. Well, the point is no point. You get it? So your action doesn't define you. I mean, to a certain degree, yes. Or at a certain time, period in time, yes. But you having that ability, and that doesn't mean, I mean, it could be right on the dot at that moment. Hey, listen, when you fully being that I mean, when you're ignorant, you just ignorant at that moment. But the true you that has the ability to change or even to be better. And as we see it with Mike Tyson. One of the like this brother deserves like fucking nobody's talking about him. Nobody's giving him his fucking flowers. From a nigga to a fucking guru. This nigga said some shit, and a lot of people didn't quite understood what he was saying. But I know it, Mike, and that's why I always give you your fucking flowers, baby. You are my chimp now, man, and you taking this shit outside of the ring. Oh, that's respect, and people don't see you that way. Oh my god! But it that's why I do this for the great listeners. Those of us who sees and understand what this is about. You see, the state of mind consciousness that this nigga have attained, he didn't do that to show off, to articulate. Yo, Tyson was saying some shit. This nigga got some lips on him. No Didi. Yo, he talks dirty. I caught one of his small mini I guess uh, uh, recording that he had, and he was talking about technically. I'm like, Mike's dropping knowledge out here. Nigga was saying, Then I can't recall. Like he said, "Nah, man, you can only go up when you hit your rock bottom." And for me, it does me a certain way, and that's what I call the power of words too. It's the intelligence that's being displayed behind those words. So literally, that shit was fucking me up. And I ain't gonna lie to you, no Didi. Shit, nigga. Fuck me up. You understand what I'm saying? Because what he was truly saying, allow me to say it my way. Mike, let me just talk my shit for a second. And I appreciate what you said too. Yo, you deserve everything you're going through, good or bad. Now this is for the hey, you got to sit among the elders for that one. But what I'm truly saying by him saying, "Nah, you got to hit your rock bottom." That's your growth. He had adopted a godhead mentality because now what he was truly saying, what you think was bad wasn't bad. This is a man who has successfully changed his reality. So after he said that, I mean, I'm not sure if it was during the same conversation. Then he was saying, "You know what I learned?" And that was Mike. I'm quoting. He said he had everything, he lost everything, then he gained everything again. And then the nigga was saying, "It was me." This nigga didn't say, "I want you to make the connection. I am that I am." This nigga didn't say, "You know what, man, I had to hustle again." Obviously, he did hustle. He got his product now. He's selling that shit. Whatever weed that this nigga's got a whole line for, and other shit that he may be part of. So understand this. But he didn't use any of that shit. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like, other niggas will tell you, "You know what, man, I lost everything. I had to grind again, man. I never gave up." You know what I'm saying? Nigga had to hustle again. You know what I'm saying? That's not what this nigga said. You know why I had that again? It was because of him. See, this is a nigga who understand, who knows what is. This is how you become. For you to have abundance, you have to become abundant. He knows what that is. He's nigga. This you can't tell him nothing. Guess what? I'm not even trying to neither, Mike. That's your shit, and that's facts. He understood that he was who he was, or that I am that I am, and as the Jamaican says, the I and I. So I'm trying to use different example and using actualities, meaning shit that takes place in real time, how shit works, to illustrate that you are who you are. And God, you know what I'm saying? If you can make the connection, I'm going to leave that open. I can only lead you to the water. That's why for me, even when we're talking about spirituality, when we're talking having God in a human form, that's what you're doing. Because this is a reflection of you. That's why God is your deeper side. I mean, it's your higher self. And that's why you need God to elevate. We all do. I do too, believe me. In fact, trust me, I know what I'm talking about. Because you may talk about God, but if you don't know how to make use of it, of God, well, I don't know. And you cannot get closer to God without getting closer to you. Yes, you could talk about Jesus, but guess what? You're not even going to get closer to Jesus neither if you don't get closer to you. Because a lot of us who start to, even to acknowledge God, it requires a certain acknowledgement of, you know what I'm saying? When you look at everybody that, choose to accept God or they have a God story, it's always the experience. There's a connection that they had. I mean, that's why you can't, if you don't accept yourself to begin with, I mean, I mean, you already lost. You lost the game before you even started. So again, spirituality, it's your fucking regular life. And all this, Jesus that, Mohammed this, Mohammed that, is simply a representation of your essence. And that is the wisdom of the wise ones. And that's what the wise ones understood. Well, that's what makes them wise too. Only when you materialize the divinity in you, that's why the fruit of the spirit, because you have to become that. It's not a Sunday thing. It's a every second thing. It's you knowing who you are. Again, do you want to sound smart or do you want to be smart? Or do you want to talk about the good qualities? To have philosophy or to have debates? Or do you want to live it and experience in it? You are who you are. You know what I'm saying? And only those of us who came to understand that, and that's what we all have been doing throughout history, testifying. I'm a fucking Jehovah's Witness. I've noticed them firsthand, and I'm here to testify. When you understand that, so that's why there's no limitations to me. I'm all of them, and none of them. So you are who you are, man. You know what I'm saying? And here's something else too for you to also understand that. A lot of us we always look at, just like we talked about, going back to that marriage thing. I think that's where I was when I was wilding. I was talking about the whole marriage thing, and then I was just wilding on some shit, right? Because the bullshit that I hear, man, it's like, what the fuck? Right? Even the whole marriage thing, the work that it requires work in your life. You can't pretend not to live, man. Like those of us who get to attain a certain level of intimacy, of godhood in us, we materialize that shit. And you materialize it, although we do good deeds, but the deeds does not define us. I'm too busy being that. Do you understand? And when you being on that frequency, that's why you'll see not a lot of people that talks about Jesus will be accepted in the kingdom. All that is saying is, just like you may have knowledge, but you have no transformation. And there's a bunch of deceivers out there, man. Jada Pinkett. I don't mean to call nobody out. That this is not the purpose. It's for you to understand when people are talking about it and people who are living it. And I'm pretty sure she would be the bitch to tell you, oh, I do not say the word nigga. She would not allow that around her. And who's doing outlanding nigga shit. You fucking your kid's friend. And again, there's more to her than that, too. She's not defined by that. However, in this particular period in time, It's revealing her level of understanding. So I want you to understand too. I don't have no personal vendetta here. This is educational purposes. Another nigga. There's a nigga. This nigga, you know what I'm saying? Derrick Jackson. And this is not for me to laugh, but it's for you to understand. You know, the nigga with the deep voice. You know what I'm saying? The articulate niggas. The Bill Cosby motherfuckers. Do you see what I'm trying to tell you? And just so you understand too, this is not a direct shot at nobody that I mentioned here. I don't know any of them personal. And if they somehow, because this shit is on YouTube, you know what I'm saying? If somehow you come across it, nigga, or my yeah, it's not personal. This is for educational purposes. And since you know what I'm saying? That's why for me, man, like, ain't no skeletons in my closet, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And if there's any skeleton in my closet, nigga, you best believe the closet is wide open. And no shame in my game, nigga. Because that's why I choose to be real to myself, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say, nigga, I smoke my shit, I drink my shit, I live my shit. But anyway, I'm saying all of that to say, he's another brother, right? Again, his subconsciously, all the guys he was talking about, that was him. All the motherfuckers, ladies, not to do this and to do that. All these guys he was talking about was him. This nigga got volume one. Niggas got a lot of books, man. So spirituality, in so many words, and relationship and all that shit became the new ah, you know what I'm saying? The new thing, but I mean, it's crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? And even the niggas who were talking about spirituality too, it all comes down to a fucking behavior, like some. It all it all it's validation. It's not true transformation. They all want to sound smart, but I don't understand. Like, I mean, I do understand. Like, I mean, a lot of us were trained. I mean, it's almost that way too, man. You always have these motherfuckers who just want to come out and serve the community and all that shit. But the way they're going about it is just it's just insane. Whereas, you know what I'm saying, the community would have benefited a lot more from you, man, if you were just being yourself. If this nigga Derrick Jackson was just saying, you know what, niggas, I was a piece of shit. And I'm still, and I am a piece of shit, but I'm looking to better. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to address certain guys as I'm going through my shit. Do you see how a lot more impactful that shit would be? But instead, this nigga, man, fucked him. But again, the fucking, but the big market too. Because women now are fucking independent. This is a big market. I was talking to that, you know what I'm saying, with my nigga. You know what I'm saying? We were breaking it. It's a big market, bro. Steve Harvey did the same. Another nigga. And again, this is not to criticize anybody, but again, you know what I'm saying? These niggas are articulating. Nothing real, nothing for you to transform, nothing that allows you to really grow. But what all of that really does to you, it secures your insecurity. Think like a man, act like a lady. Ladies, you were already thinking like a man. So when this nigga came out and say that shit, nigga, man, these niggas, listen. See, I mean, again, it's nothing personal. They know exactly what to give them, and this niggas did it. Jada Pinkett, spirituality being the new thing. Everybody's talking about toxicity. Can you imagine the word toxicity came out of that bitch mouth? Like you said, what? Come on, Jocelyn. We don't mind you willing to help other people, but help yourself first. I'm saying that to say, by you doing the work too, man, it helps you to even make a better fucking connection. If you want to teach. So again, what the fuck? I'm wilding, but it's just the bullshit, man. You know what I'm saying? But again, but I want you to see it in all different perspectives that I'm trying to display here, where I'm able to judge it, and yet there's no attachment to my judgment. Me being who I am, and that who I am is not to criticize anybody, neither. But what I'm trying to get you to see here, I could talk about somebody where it's not personal. Not just on my end, but also me judging that other person too, because they can also learn from their situation, and because they have God in them too, which is infinite potential. So she could change too, or anybody else could change. In fact, I would love for these mother niggas. I would love to be like, I remember I used to say, this bitch, that's what she was thinking, and now look at her. I would like to praise her like I'm talking about Mike Tyson, nigga. So again, this is it's judgment, but no judgment. Does that make sense? But the idea here, I want you to get the underlying thing here, because I'm saying so many things on so many different levels, is that you are who you are, and that's who you should seek for. Because your actions does not define you. Your environment does not define you neither. And yes, it may have influences on you. I'm not taking away that. But if it has any influence on you, that would also that would also tell us about you too. The whole idea behind tell me who I tell me who you hang out with, and I'll tell you who you are. The whole idea behind it, it's not for you to look for good people to hang out with, although it implies that too. But it's truly saying, be better too, man. It's almost like, do you see what I'm saying? The whole idea here is that tell me who you are and I'll tell you who you are. You see what I'm saying? If you hanging out with somebody, right? I mean, listen, we all went through it. I know for me, I went through a phase. Certain friends that used to be my friends, it's nothing personal, but as I grew, the fucking detachment, it fucking happens. So the idea of me when I was hanging out with them, it's not shit. They probably was me at that time. But the thing about me, there are many me. Do you get it? You can only become who you are without. It's like when I was a boy, I spoke as a boy. As a man, as I speak like a man, the boy is not. It doesn't mean the boy is non-existent. The boy is still in me. I'm a better version of that boy. Now, a boy that has wisdom, well, you're no longer a boy, but that boy is still in me. So another way of saying too, man, all of your experiences too. I mean, that's why you deserve to go whatever through whatever the fuck you're going through. But this is for the elders though. When you start grasping life from that perspective, I mean, like you're looking at shit from God lenses, and you're gonna have it's automatic. You're gonna have to radiate your senses. You done purified the earth that you're around. Now you truly have the ability to see beyond the veil. Your DNA has fully transformed. Now, what other people are calling bad, now you use that to make you better. This is living experience shit, man. This is for the wise. So the I am that I am. You are who the fuck you are. Take that, nigga. Take that, take that. You know, we all say, I mean, I know. That's why you have to be careful. We have to learn how to embrace the paradox, right? And I think I started talking about that and I somehow deviated from it. But what I was saying by that, certain things, like we all know, we all say if you came from a good family, having mom and dad in the house, most likely you all gonna be good. That is true. I'm not saying it's not true, that is true. But it's also true too, man. You may come from the hood. That was the best. If it, that right there, that's when you see, you know what I'm saying? That's why they say you never judge a book by its cover. That's why there's no definite like answer or to anything. It's what you make it. If you have your mom and dad, and having a mom and dad too, and here's the thing too, another misconception. As if when you have a mom and dad in the house, that automatically gets you to the level that you need to be. And that's not the case. That could be true too. It's as if being a mom and dad, we don't even question their own nature. You may have a mom and dad in the house that you need to stay away from for you to grow. And for you to grow any fucking way, good or bad, you're gonna have to grow. Your isolation period, your self realization, what your transformation, that's something you gotta go through. It's you. So regardless on how you want to put it, it sounds good. It's yeah, it's true. And that's why in the Kabbalion they tell you opposite could come together. Meaning the same shit that is true could be false. And the same shit that is false can also be true, nigga. Just like not everybody that comes from the hood gonna end up in the hood. A lot of us, the hood was your motivation to get out the fucking hood. So, you know what I'm saying? And for someone else, it could be something else. Again, it's you. You are who you are. None of it defines you. It may have some influence on you. That is correct. Yes. But when you decide to be you, that's why your circumstances doesn't define you, baby. A nigga, no matter where you come from, the hood, you focus, you know what you want, nigga, you already got it. Because anybody who ever got anything, it's the state of mind. then now all you're gonna go through is the transformation, is letting shit unfold itself, man. You gotta let shit unfold itself, baby. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we all gotta rip what we sow, man. And that's for everybody. And that's why karma too, for a lot of anyway, that would be a whole different conversation. Comes down to your understanding of it. Karma could be a bitch, or it could be a stepping stone to help you to realign yourself. How are you looking at it? If you're looking at it from a payback perspective, then you could say it's a bitch like a motherfucker. But if you're looking at it from a perspective that allows you to have a better understanding of your action, I mean, it might be a bitch that you need to have. You know what I'm saying? After all, that's not a bad bitch. But as you become in alignment with yourself, I mean, obviously, you know what I'm saying, you're not gonna need that bitch anymore. But I'm saying all of that to say this is what it really comes down to, man. I am that I am. You know what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of us, when you being yourself, you understand the process of what you do without having the attachment to your fucking accomplishment. Meaning, you understand that that is the work that I'm doing, but yet it doesn't define me. It's the person that I've become. It's the work. It's the, you know what I'm saying? It's how involved. It's the, you know, I mean, shit. I mean, the money. That's why I always tell people, man, money, fame. A lot of people look at that shit as being first, but that's just always secondary. It's always secondary, bro. And anybody that makes money, you don't make money just making money. And even if you're making money, I mean, you still using money to make money. That's what you call your investors. And guess what? And that money now is being used for something else. You know, most companies would go public to get more funds or to expand their businesses. Whatever again, do you see what I'm saying? And the nature of their business, that's what the money is. Even when you're stealing to get money, you still putting. I mean, you're doing some shit for it. So that shit's always gonna be secondary, dog. How is it not? Please let me know. So as you get to know the true self, your true essence, by me knowing that, it doesn't mean, let's just say, I'm gonna say no to $1 million. Get the fuck out of here, nigga. In fact, give me 1 trillion. But underneath that all, the money doesn't define me. That's what you have to understand. And once you understand that, and that's why a lot of people who has money, they understand for you to even thrive, that's why you have to maintain a balanced head. Well, how do you maintain a balanced head? Is by having a Godhead mentality. It's to go beyond the material bondage. In other words, it's not living a lustful life. You know what I'm saying? That's why, again, the whole idea here is for you to be who you are. That's why none of that shit matters if you're not being who the fuck you are. Because the minute you're being, trust me, I know for me, and and I see it in a lot of other people who have attained that state of mind or who have found their beauty or attained the Christ consciousness. You know that shit is priceless, bro. I would not give that shit up for nothing. Not a thing. For no thing. For no slash thing. For no thing. Because there's nothing comparing to that, nigga. The peace that you have, like the joy, listen. And I always see anybody who have attained that level of consciousness, do you know what they say? Nigga, you ain't fucking up my shit. They all have the same attitude, the same behavior. And that's why we create our boundaries. That's why it's not personal. I don't fuck with you. I don't fuck with you, nigga. It's not personal. I choose me over you all day, every day. As I believe you would probably too. But your you and my me do not go hand in hand. So therefore, I can't fuck with you. It's that simple. There's nothing to regret. And if anything, I'm enjoying every second of it. Why the fuck not? I'm not trying to be smart or sound smart. I'm being smart. So again, we're talking all about that, guys. It's for you guys to understand that you are who you are. And there's no way around that. But most importantly, when you understand the statement, again, I'll let you make the connection yourself. You know, that you are, I am that I am. And with the Rastafari, they talk about the I and I. You know, the closer you are to yourself, the closer you are to God. But most importantly, what you're also seeing in all of those esoteric knowledge or wisdom or mythologies, it's just God has to become a person. It has to be materialized. The whole idea, because understand, the Egyptian were the first one to have done that. That's why, you know, they represent, we are the blueprint. So when you hear Isis, Osiris, that is the blueprint. But you also got to understand it so it makes sense to you. Seth, that represented the physical body or this world, or however the fuck you want to call it. That's what you're talking about when you're talking about Satan and all that shit. Had the perfect coffin, the perfect body for Osiris. Everybody's only you can fit your body. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm saying all of that to say, and this is just, and I'm not gonna go too much into it because that shit, it's all day. In terms of different pockets, different things to delve into. But the whole idea of what I'm trying to say here, again, going back to spirituality, this is all spirituality. This is all spirituality, which is all your life. And anything, I mean, our interpretation of God, unfortunately, due to ignorance, it's almost what the church is selling you. It's more of a way to escape this reality. You here, but you thinking about somewhere else. Why the fuck are you here? And how the fuck is that gonna help you while you here any fucking way? Good. If I'm gonna go to paradise, well, let me take care of that when I get there. Let me find out what's out there when I get there. But now that I'm here, what the fuck are you doing? And as you can see in life, that's why it's all about the present moment. Because you may argue you were born, then you're gonna die. Cool. In the meantime, that you're alive, what are you doing? Just because you're gonna die, are you just what are you doing? Or you deal with that later. I mean, and when that happens, it's not gonna help you either way. Because when you're alive, you don't know what's going on when you're dead. And when you're dead, you are not alive. Doesn't matter. That's why if anything that you're doing now, it's not to your benefit, it's not in the now, it doesn't matter. And that's the idea, even when you're doing your manifestation, even when you don't have it, you say you want to have it now. It's already here. The idea of saying it's already here, you got to understand the science too. So that way, even if you don't have it, you know that you're not lying to yourself. You got to understand the science. Just like how do you meditate if you don't understand how to meditate? You jerking off, bro. And even to do that, you got to know how to do it. So, I mean, I don't even know what the fuck you're doing at this point. Because to jerk off, you got to know how to jerk off, bro. Up and down, you know the rest. Or if you choose to use whatever the fuck. But nigga, the bottom line is this. Do you understand? Do you get it? Nigga, I'm wilding. You know what I'm saying? Again, and part of our essence, you know what I'm saying? Even when you see a kid, they reproduce automatically what they see you doing. So the way you work, that's why God's got to be in your life. And your intelligence should be used for you to see God. And you should devote your life to God and what that simply means to your higher self. Only then can you become sane. A good human being is a fucking spiritual master. Because now you have adopted or materialized those God qualities into your regular life. Isn't that what we're saying? You gotta talk it like you walk it. Well, your nature, you can't walk it if you don't see it, if you don't become it. Because it's part of your mechanism or your this is how you operate. So you can't living a godly life if you don't see God in you. If you don't relate to God, if you somehow God is not materializing into your life. And those of us who are closer to God, guess what? We have an open heart. We're closer to our nature. We feel it, we know it. So you can either be stuck in titles, meaning, you know, this religion, that religion. Again, you know, you don't understand the blueprint. You don't truly know your true essence. Because a man of God is a man of spirit, and spirit is everywhere. Intelligence is everywhere. In Kabbalah, in Kabbalion, in Hinduism, in whatever the fuck ism that is out there. Now, your understanding of it, that's what makes the difference. But here's something else, too. For you to be who you are, I mean, you're going to be who you are regardless. That's why your environment doesn't define you. Yes, you may say you came from over here, came from. There's no absolutes or certainty that this is how it works. That's why even let's just say if you come from a small town and you know a couple of black people, and then you say just okay, if you look at rap and then you say everybody, you know what I'm saying, or let's just say any nigga from the hood, like the hood, it's that's what rap music. I mean, you got it all fucked up because a lot of people from the hood was not gangsters. Let's put it this way. Because you know a lot of these niggas that sell drugs, you know, Jay Z would tell you that, 50 Cent would tell you that. Yeah, but the hood in itself, not everybody's doing that shit. Well, check out Boys in the Hood. You have your college niggas that there. I was Derrick Rose. I mean, I did. This nigga came from the hood in Chicago. Cause I where the fuck was I watching this? It was actually a podcast I was watching, and I'm like, oh shit. But when you look at rappers, or do you see what I'm saying? Your interpretation of the hood, it's like it's only these niggas. So I'm saying that to say two things could be true, and one thing could be true and false at the same time. We're talking about different levels of understanding. So, anyway, you are who you are, man. Ultimately, there was a couple points that I want you to get truly. I mean, we talked about so many different things, so many different examples, and the idea was for you to go outside of the box, for you to understand when we talk about when God said, I am that I am, well, I wanted you to make that connection. And we use many different examples to talk about, you know, people who had the ability to change. Would you say that was them then and this is them now? You could say that. Or you can also say, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it is their state of mind. Or, I mean, who are they? Meaning, you know what I'm saying? And when you understand that, I know for me, when I understand that, then I understand, you know, my lowest, I am who I am. That means the period of time that I went through when I was stupid, and now with the period of time now when I'm, let's just say, when I was asleep, and the time that now that I am awakened, I am that I am. You know what I'm saying? And when you understand that, by me understanding my true nature, because what really was taking place, although at certain time it may reflect who I was, but who I was a lot more to that, because that's why I was not confined to the box that I was in. And no one is. Only if you put yourself there. Then at that point, you're still going to be who the fuck you are. That's why you're going to be you regardless. Now, how you defined it, now that's on you. And those who understand how unlimited this potential is, that's why we're telling you, man, listen, man, you are who you are. Just like the whole saying, you know, that goes, well, you know, um, he who believe he can and he who believe that he can't, they're both right. And the other point that I also wanted you guys to understand too, man, is to understand the true meaning of not just spirituality, but the the constant relationship that you have in God. There's no God without you, and there's no you without God. And we're gonna leave it there. I am that I am. You already know I sent. Brow, Malay.